Good morning. I want to keep this short and useful. If you are a student balancing classes, a young professional building a career, or someone in between, the next few minutes matter. Progress does not come from one big breakthrough. It comes from small things you do every single day. Here are 10 of those things explained simply with one practical action you can take today. Concentrating on a single task is not a luxury. It is the practice that turns intention into measurable progress. When you give your full attention to one objective, you notice small errors sooner, make better decisions, and complete work more efficiently than when your mind is split. Begin by designing a workspace that reduces the number of competing signals, remove visual clutter, silence non-essential alerts, and put devices in another room if possible. Pair that environment with a ritual that signals your brain, the work window has begun. It can be as simple as pouring a glass of water, closing a door, or jotting the desired result on a note card. Guard this block like a meeting with someone important. Protect its start and end, and treat it as non-negotiable unless a true emergency appears. If a distracting thought arrives, write it down quickly and return to the task. This gives your mind permission to remember without pulling you off course. Use time limits that match your energy. Short stretches when you are early in the day, longer stretches when you hit your stride. Break complex projects into discrete steps so the next action is obvious and momentum is easier to sustain. Be mindful of how decisions and small interruptions fragment attention across the day. Batching similar actions and scheduling decision-free periods reduces friction and preserves cognitive bandwidth. Track progress in simple ways: a checklist, a brief timer log, or a single line in your planner, so you can see the compound effect of consistent attention. Learn to recognize when persistence becomes diminishing returns. Stepping away for a deliberate reset often produces better outcomes than pushing past a productivity cliff. Finally, be patient with the process. Deep, high-quality work is a learned habit that grows stronger with repetition and protective routines. Celebrate small wins and log tiny improvements. Over weeks, these additions compound into capability you can point to, defend, and build upon confidently with intention. Excited? Curiosity is the habit of leaning forward instead of stepping back. It keeps your mind awake, your skills fresh, and your options open. When you approach a topic with genuine interest, you notice patterns others skip, ask sharper questions, and connect ideas that do not seem related at first. That mindset is not limited to classrooms or labs. It shows up when you read a contract closely, watch how a teammate solves a problem, or wonder why a process at work takes longer than it should. Build it into your day with small prompts. Start by carrying a simple question list in your Notes app. Add items whenever something puzzles you. Then schedule a short window to look up one item. Follow reliable sources, but also trace claims to where they came from so you can check context. When you read or listen, pause to predict what comes next, then compare your guess with the actual outcome. This strengthens understanding and highlights gaps you can close. Seek range without scattering your attention. Pick one unfamiliar area each week and explore it just enough to grasp the core ideas and vocabulary. Rotate through fields like design, statistics, psychology, or basic finance. A light survey across domains often gives you tools to solve stubborn problems in your main field. Pair this with deeper dives on topics that matter to your goals, and you will balance breadth with mastery. Curiosity also grows in conversation. Ask people what they are working on, what surprised them recently, and what they wish someone had told them earlier. Listen for specifics. When something is unclear, restate it in your own words and check if you got it right. You will learn faster and build trust at the same time. Be careful of shallow scrolling that looks like learning but leaves nothing behind. Capture one insight each day in a short note with an example of how you might use it. Revisit these entries weekly to turn loose facts into practical knowledge. Over time, you will notice that questions come more easily, answers arrive more quickly, and your work benefits from a mind trained to look beneath the surface. Improving a skill is less about talent and more about how consistently you train. Most people stop at exposure. They attend a class, read a guide, or try something once and assume they know it. Real growth happens when you deliberately repeat actions with the intent to refine them. This is the difference between casual repetition and what experts call deliberate practice, breaking a larger ability into small pieces, isolating the weakest part, and working on it until it improves. To make practice effective, you first need clarity. Define the specific ability you want to sharpen and set a small, measurable target. Instead of saying, "I want to be better at writing," commit to, "I will write 200 words daily that use clear, simple sentences." Instead of, "I want to code," focus on, "I will build one function that solves a problem I understand." This kind of precision gives your sessions direction and prevents you from wasting time on vague effort. Feedback is also crucial. Practicing in silence without correction can reinforce mistakes. Seek a mentor, peer, or even software that can point out errors. Record yourself, re-watch the attempt, and notice where you lose rhythm, accuracy, or focus. Every cycle of practice should end with one takeaway that informs the next round. Consistency beats intensity. Practicing for 20 minutes every day is more powerful than cramming for 3 hours once a week. Small, steady sessions keep your brain engaged, strengthen muscle memory, and lower the mental resistance of getting started. Over time, these modest increments compound into noticeable expertise. Do not ignore the mental side of practice. It can be frustrating to feel clumsy or stuck. Instead of treating frustration as failure, use it as a sign that you have reached your learning edge. That is where the real development happens. Pair patience with persistence, step back when fatigue sets in, then return fresh. Finally, tie practice to application. Skills gain depth when they solve real problems. Share your work, test it in real conditions, or teach it to someone else. By doing so, you not only prove your progress, but also solidify the knowledge in a way that sticks far beyond the practice session. Taking care of your body is not a side task. It is the foundation for everything else you want to accomplish. When your health is neglected, concentration slips, motivation fades, and even simple tasks feel heavier than they should. Energy, clarity, and resilience all come from the choices you make each day around sleep, movement, and nutrition. Start with rest. Sleep is not just about avoiding fatigue. It is when your brain processes memory, clears toxins, and repairs itself. Skipping quality rest makes focus harder, slows reaction time, and reduces your ability to learn. Aim for a consistent schedule, keeping bedtime and wake-up time steady, even on weekends. Create a calming pre-sleep routine that avoids bright screens and heavy stimulation so your body recognizes when it is time to wind down. Movement is the next pillar. You do not need extreme training plans to benefit. Regular physical activity improves circulation, sharpens mood, and strengthens immunity, Even short sessions matter. Walking briskly, stretching, or doing body weight exercises between study or work blocks can reset your energy. Over time, this consistent movement builds stamina that carries into both mental and physical tasks. Food plays a direct role in performance. A diet filled with processed sugar or heavy junk meals will spike your energy and then crash it. Balanced meals with lean proteins, whole grains, fruits and vegetables provide steady fuel for long periods of focus. Hydration is just as important. Even mild dehydration reduces alertness and can make you feel drained before the day is halfway over. Keep water nearby and drink regularly instead of waiting for thirst to remind you. Beyond the basics, pay attention to posture, breathing, and time spent outdoors. Sitting in one position too long strains your body and dulls your mind. Break that cycle by standing, stretching, and practicing deep breaths to refresh oxygen flow. Exposure to sunlight, even for a short walk, regulates your body clock and lifts your mood. Health is not about perfection, it is about building small protective habits that stack up over time. By making rest, activity, and nutrition part of your daily rhythm, you give yourself the stamina and clarity to pursue every other goal with consistency and strength. Planning is not about filling a notebook with lists or creating a perfect schedule. It is about giving your day a shape that supports what matters most. Without some structure, time gets swallowed by distractions and small tasks that feel urgent but produce little progress. A clear plan sets direction, reduces stress, and frees your mind to focus on the actual work instead of constantly deciding what to do next. Start by identifying priorities rather than trying to do everything. Ask yourself, if I only accomplish 3 things today, which would matter most? These should not just be tasks to cross off, but outcomes that push you forward in school, career, or personal growth. Write them down in visible form so you can return to them when the day gets noisy. Break larger goals into specific actions. A vague plan like work on assignment is easy to ignore. Instead, define it as outline the first section or draft 500 words. Clear actions remove hesitation and make it obvious when you have succeeded. Time blocking can help protect focus. Assign parts of your day to different types of work, a morning session for your toughest task, an afternoon slot for meetings or collaboration, and lighter chores saved for when energy dips. Even if the timing shifts, the structure reminds you of what deserves your attention first. Leave space for flexibility. A rigid plan that collapses at the first interruption only causes frustration. Build in small buffers between commitments and accept that some days will run differently than expected. The goal of planning is guidance, not perfection. End each day by reviewing what worked and what fell through. Carry unfinished items forward only if they still align with your priorities. This reflection closes the loop and allows tomorrow's plan to improve instead of repeating the same mistakes. Planning also has a psychological effect. It signals to your brain that you are in control of your time, which reduces anxiety and boosts motivation. When you wake up knowing what matters most and how you will approach it, you cut down on wasted energy and start with confidence. Over weeks and months, that daily rhythm of clear intention compounds into steady, reliable progress. Reflection is the quiet step most people skip, yet it is the one that often makes the biggest difference. Without pausing to look back, you end up repeating mistakes, missing patterns, and overlooking progress that could have encouraged you. Reflection is not about dwelling on the past, it is about learning from it so the future can be better. The simplest way to practice is to set aside a few minutes at the end of each day. Ask yourself 3 questions. What went well? What could have gone better? What will I do differently tomorrow? Writing the answers down in a notebook or a notes app forces you to slow down and think clearly, rather than letting vague impressions pass through your mind. Over time, these small entries form a record of growth you can look back on when you need perspective. Reflection also works on a weekly or monthly level. Step back and look at the bigger picture. Are you moving toward your long-term goals, or are you getting stuck in loops of busy work? Reviewing your calendar or to-do list can reveal whether you're spending time on what truly matters or just reacting to what feels urgent. Adjusting based on this view helps you realign your daily habits with your bigger vision. It is important to approach reflection with honesty but not harshness. Many people avoid it because they fear facing mistakes, yet mistakes are the best teachers. Instead of labeling a failure as proof you are not capable, treat it as data. Ask why it happened, what part was in your control, and what experiment you can try next time. That mindset shift turns errors into stepping stones rather than setbacks. Reflection also strengthens gratitude. By noting small wins and positive moments, you train your brain to recognize progress instead of only noticing problems. This balance builds resilience and motivation for the long run. Ultimately, reflection is about building awareness. You cannot improve what you do not notice. By looking back with curiosity and a willingness to learn, you equip yourself to move forward with clarity, confidence, and intention. It is a habit that transforms experience into wisdom. Connections are one of the most valuable resources you can build, yet they are often overlooked in the rush to achieve personal goals. No matter how skilled or determined you are, opportunities, ideas, and support almost always come through people. The right relationships open doors, offer perspective, and provide encouragement when progress feels slow. Strong connections are not about collecting contacts or adding followers. They are about building genuine trust and mutual respect. Start small instead of waiting for big networking events. Look around at classmates, colleagues, neighbors, or community members. Ask questions, listen carefully, and show interest in what others are working on. When people feel heard, they remember you. A simple habit is to reach out daily in a small way. Send a thank you message, check in with someone you have not spoken to in a while, or share an article that might help them. These gestures take only a minute, but compound into strong bonds over time. The key is to be consistent and sincere, not transactional. Another part of building connections is offering value before asking for it. Help someone with feedback, introduce 2 people who might benefit from knowing each other, or share your own experiences openly. Giving without expectation builds credibility, and when the time comes that you do need support, others will be far more willing to help. Do not underestimate the importance of diverse connections. People outside your field often bring insights and perspectives you would never have found on your own. By widening your circle, you not only expand your knowledge, but also build resilience against limited thinking. At the same time, nurture depth, not just breadth. A few strong, supportive relationships are more powerful than dozens of surface-level acquaintances. Invest time in regular conversations, celebrate others' wins, and stand by them in challenges. Finally, remember that connections go both ways. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, not just those who make you comfortable. A healthy network is one where support and accountability balance each other. When you cultivate relationships with care and consistency, you create a foundation of trust and opportunity that will sustain you far longer than any single achievement. Excited. Protecting long, quiet stretches for demanding tasks is one of the highest return habits you can build. Short bursts of attention are fine for messages and small chores, but they will not carry a thesis, a product feature, or a portfolio piece across the finish line. Real progress needs uninterrupted space where you can think clearly, hold a complex idea in your head, and push it forward without constant context switching. Start by choosing one important outcome that deserves full attention. Define the next concrete step. Clear your desk of everything unrelated, and silence notifications on every device. Let others know you are heads down so they do not expect quick replies. A simple calendar block with a clear label helps you honor the time and gives your team clarity. Use a fixed window to create a rhythm. 90 minutes is a good target because it is long enough to enter a focused state and short enough to sustain with energy. Begin each session with a 2-minute checklist. What is the goal for this block? What is the first action? What could derail me? Keep a notepad nearby for stray thoughts so you can park them and return to the work without losing flow. Treat attention like a muscle. The first sessions may feel restless, so keep going until your mind learns the pattern. End each block with a short review. Write one sentence on what moved forward and what the very next action will be tomorrow. This makes re-entry easier and keeps momentum alive. Support these sessions with basics. Sleep, hydration, and a brief walk before you start can raise the quality of thinking. Schedule meetings together and keep them away from your prime hours so you do not fragment the day. Over weeks, these protected blocks add up to tangible work you can ship, defend, and be proud of. Being aware of your finances is less about having a perfect budget and more about knowing where your money is going and why. Too many people avoid looking at their numbers because it feels uncomfortable, but ignoring money only makes the stress worse. Awareness gives you control, and control gives you options. Even small daily habits around money compound into security and freedom over time. The first step is to track what comes in and what goes out. You don't need a complicated spreadsheet to start. A simple note on your phone or a free app can show patterns clearly. Write down every expense for a week without judgment. Often just seeing the numbers in front of you is enough to reveal habits you didn't notice, like frequent small purchases that quietly add up. Once you understand the flow, begin setting priorities. Decide what is essential, what adds value to your life, and what you can cut back on without real loss. This doesn't mean stripping away every pleasure, but rather spending with intention. When money aligns with your values, you feel more in control and less guilty about your choices. Awareness also means building a cushion. Even if you can only set aside a small amount, treating savings like a regular bill creates consistency. Over months, that small buffer becomes peace of mind when unexpected costs arrive. Alongside savings, pay attention to debt. Know exactly what you owe, the interest rate, and the timeline. Clarity prevents overwhelm and allows you to build a repayment plan that feels manageable. Another layer of financial awareness is future planning. Think about short-term goals like buying a laptop or taking a course, as well as long-term needs like retirement. You don't need all the answers right away, but simply writing down goals and rough numbers makes them more realistic. Finally, treat money as a tool, not a measure of worth. Comparing yourself to others will only distract you from your own path. The point of financial awareness is to support your life, your learning, and your growth, not to chase someone else's standard. With consistent attention, you create stability today and opportunities tomorrow. Being kind to yourself is one of the most underrated habits, yet it directly affects how far and how fast you can grow. Many students and young professionals believe that relentless pressure and self-criticism are what drive improvement. In reality, harshness often leads to burnout, procrastination, and a constant sense of never being good enough. Kindness, on the other hand, creates resilience. It allows you to recover from mistakes, learn with clarity, and keep moving forward. Start by noticing your inner voice. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself when something goes wrong. Would you use the same words with a close friend? If not, it's a sign that you need to shift the tone. Replace "I'm terrible at this" with "I'm still learning this skill." The language you use matters because your brain believes it. Encouraging words do not make challenges disappear, but they keep you from shutting down in the middle of them. Kindness also shows up in how you treat your body. Rest when you are exhausted, fuel yourself with proper meals, and take breaks without guilt. Overworking to the point of collapse is not dedication, it is self-neglect. By treating your health as a priority, you signal to yourself that your well-being matters as much as your output. It also helps to acknowledge small wins. Too often we race past progress without recognizing it, which leaves us feeling stagnant even when we're moving forward. End each day by naming one thing you did well, no matter how small. This builds a balanced view of your journey instead of focusing only on what's missing. Being kind does not mean avoiding accountability. It means separating your worth from your performance. You can admit mistakes, correct them, and still treat yourself with patience. This balance allows you to grow without tearing yourself down in the process. In the long run, kindness to yourself sustains motivation. It keeps you grounded in tough seasons and helps you enjoy the wins when they come. When you build the habit of self-compassion, you create a foundation of strength that no external challenge can easily shake. Let me leave you with this. Growth is not about giant leaps. It's about the small choices you make every single day. Focus, curiosity, practice, health, planning, reflection, building connections, carving time for deep work, staying financially aware, and being kind to yourself. These are not quick fixes, they're daily habits. If you carry even a few of them with consistency, you'll look back months from now and see how far you've come. So start small, stay steady, and remember, the person you want to become is built by what you do today, not someday.